All right, hello and welcome to a video on how one goes about the process of burning movies onto DVDs on a Mac. So in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to use your Mac to download a movie from the streaming website that we share, and how to burn that movie then onto DVD. And I'm going to use a piece of software on my Mac that's called DVDStyler to do this. It allows me to create the DVD, the menus and all that sort of stuff that I need to put the stuff in the right format to be burned on DVD, and then it will actually do the burning. So it's an all-inclusive tool, just one tool to do the whole thing here. Like before, I have set up a web page here with links to the software we're going to install, things like that, and these videos on it. There will be more videos in this series, but this is the first and only one for the moment on this web page. If you don't have the link to this web page, you came to this video perhaps through YouTube, then look in the description on YouTube underneath this video and you'll find the link to this web page there, and you can click on that. Also, I will mention again that I apologize for the noisy nature of the video here. The way I'm recording this just makes it kind of noisy, and there's really nothing I can do about it. But hopefully, everything will be clear enough that you can follow along and get the job done, even if it's not pretty. And also, this is a large video. I have a large desktop here, and in order to see everything, you should maximize the video on your desktop. Maybe go into full screen mode there, as YouTube allows it, and that will help you see things more clearly. I do have a zoom capability on this desktop, on the Catalina desktop here, which I will use to zoom in on parts of the page I'm working like this, and that hopefully will help you see things a little bit better too. Right there we see the very first thing that we're going to do, and that's we're going to install that software I mentioned called DVDStyler. That's the main software we're going to use to do the DVD work involved. So I'm going to click on that link right there on this web page to go to the DVDStyler download site, and I can see right here the Mac OS X binary file, a DMG file, a disk image file for DVDStyler to do the install. So I'm going to click on that link and download that software. It will take me to another page here where I have to actually click on this DVD Mac OS X binary link to get the actual file and get it to download. So I'll click here and it will download the file. I'll zoom back out here and we can see that it's appeared in my download folder down here at the bottom. You just saw it bounce if you looked quick enough as I unzoomed. You saw it bounce, and that means it's ready to be used. So when I click on this icon, it will open up my download basket. I can see the DMG file in my download basket there, and I can click on that to start the install process. So when I click on that, it will open up a little progress window here in the middle of my screen. It will stick an icon in the upper right hand corner here called DVDStyler, and it will give me a little install window here. And the way I install this software is I click on the DVDStyler icon and I drag it over and drop it on the applications folder, the blue folder in this window. So I will zoom in on this, and then I will click on DVDStyler and I will drag it over here to the applications window and drop it. And that will make a little noise, which you just heard there, a little dong noise. There was also, if I had not been zoomed in, you would have seen a little progress bar up here above the window as that install happened. When that window goes away and that little noise happens, I know that the install is complete and I'm finished. So installing DVDStyler is that simple. So I will now close this window. I don't need it anymore. I will come up here to the DVDStyler icon in the upper right-hand corner of my desktop, and I will right-click it, and I'll pick Eject DVDStyler to get rid of that icon off my desktop. I'll zoom back out, and I'll come down here to my Downloads basket and open that up in my Downloads folder, and I can now get rid of this DMG file. I don't need it anymore now that the installer is finished. So I'll just drag that to the trash can and drop it in the trash. So that's the install process. I've now finished installing DVDStyler. I'll go back to the web page here just by clicking the back arrow in Safari. I'll have to click it a couple of times to get there, back to the web page. Now we're ready to move on to the next step, which is to download a movie. So there are lots of ways to get movies and lots of ways to download them, and that's really not the point of this particular video. So I'm going to take an easy way out, and I'm going to open up a website that you and I shared to do movie streaming. The website really doesn't matter to other folks. Whoops, I need to log in here. I've never been here before. Uh-oh. Yes, I'll allow it to show notifications, and I will log in. All right, I have entered my user ID and password, and I will click on the sign in. And I will save my password for later use. Okay, so now I'm on the website that you and I share for family streaming of movies here. And we have a bunch of movies available to us that we can mess around with. And I'm going to pretend like we're going to make a new DVD of one of the movies that you asked me to add to the website when your cat peed on it and ruined the disc. So we have a movie here, Jimi Hendrix, All Is By My Side. We can download this file from this website. So if you click on the three little dots that are down here in the corner of the movie cover, right down here, you get a menu that pops up, and one of the things on that menu is the word download. So if I click on that, it will download this movie onto my Mac. So I'm going to click it, and it will, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. I clicked delete when I don't want to do that. So let's try again here. Let's click download. Okay, do I want to allow this website to download things? Yes, I do. So I'll click the word allow, and it will now start downloading this. Now, movie files are large files, so it's going to take a while for this to download. We can see here at the bottom of the screen, if I can scooch it down enough, there we go, a little progress bar across the little gray bar there that shows the progress of the download. So this is going to take a few minutes. So while we're waiting for that, we'll take a short break in the video here, and we'll come back when that's finished downloading. Okay, and we can see that the download has now finished. The gray bar has gone away, the icon has changed, and it just bounced there at the end to let us know that it was all done. So we've now got the movie in our download basket. We can click on that, and we can see the movie file here. Jimmy Is All By My Side, an MP4 file. So we're ready to now burn this onto DVD. So I'm going to maximize the screen again. There we go. And I'm going to close this Safari because I don't need it anymore. Got my movie. And I'm going to open up DVDStyler. So if you remember, the way I usually open programs is I start the Launchpad up, and I type in the first few letters of the program name, in this case DVD, and there's the DVDStyler. Now, when I start this program, since it's been downloaded from the internet, it's an insecure program. OS X is going to prevent me from running this program until I do some security stuff. So the first time that I use this program, I actually have to start it by holding down the control key on my keyboard and clicking it. So I'm going to control click this icon. And I only have to do this once, the first time I use the program. And it will then show me a message that says it can't open it because it's from an unidentified developer. So I'm going to say, okay, well, what do I do now? So what I need to do is come up here to my little Apple icon in the upper left-hand corner of my screen, right up here, that little apple that's in the corner. Click on that and click on System Preferences. I'll zoom back out so we can see our system preferences over here. And I need to click on Security and Privacy within the system preferences. And it will tell me here that it blocked DVDStyler because it's not from an identified developer. But I can open it anyway if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to do Open Anyway. And it's going to give me this message that says it cannot verify the developer. Am I sure that I want to open this program? And yes, I do. So I'm going to click on Open. And I'm going to zoom back out. And after a few minutes here, DVDStyler will come up, will start up. And so it's started now. It's hidden behind this security and privacy panel. So I don't need this security privacy panel anymore. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to see the very first screen that I see the first time I run DVDStyler. And that's this little window here asking me what language I want to use for DVDStyler. And I want to scroll down here until I find English, because that's the language I want it to use on its interface. Oops, there we go. There's English. So I picked English, and I click OK. So now I wait a few more seconds, not doing anything, just waiting. And there's DVDStyler. It's started up now. So from now on, when you start DVDStyler, it will come right here. You won't have to do any of that other stuff we just did. That was the first time only. So if I close this now and I restarted it, I would come right here. And what this screen is telling me is this is the welcome screen. It's asking me what kind of DVD do I want to create. So the first thing I have to tell DVDStyler is what kind of DVD have I got. And I have a regular 4.7 gigabyte DVD, and that's what I'm going to create. I have other choices in here, like if I had one of those dual layer DVDs that are, almost 9 gigabytes, I could pick that too. That's an option here as well. But I'm going to stick with a regular size DVD. That's pretty much what I need most of the time. So that's what I'm going to use by default. It's also asking me to give it a name for the DVD. It calls it a disc label. It'll write this on the disc, and then when the disc appears up here in the right-hand corner of my desktop after I burned it, that'll be the name that's that the disc has on my desktop. Right now it has the name, if I zoom in here, you can see it has the name Untitled DVD. I'll scoot over there a little bit. There we go. So that's the name it has right now as a blank DVD in my DVD drive. But I can set that so that when the disc gets burned, it gets burned to something else. So the movie I'm burning on here is this Jimmy movie. So I'm going to give it the name Jimmy. These names have to be short. They can't be long. If they get too long, they'll get cut off. So you want to keep them under 12 characters, let's say. Somewhere between 8 and 12 characters is probably a good maximum size for these names. So I'm just going to use a short name that'll tell me basically give me an idea of what's on the disc when I see it later. The other things that are on here are, what audio bitrate do I want? Well, I just let that default to auto. That's, video bitrate do I want? Let that default to automatic. Let DVDStyler figure that out. The audio bitrate, the quality, I just let that default. It's 192 by default, and I let that be that way. This title post command is to tell DVDStyler or tell the DVD what to do when it's done playing the movie. So when it gets to the end of the movie, what should it do? And so I can look at the choices here. It can go to the root menu, it can call the last menu, or it can play the next title, play the next selection on the DVD. And when I create this DVD, I'm not going to create any menus. That's the simplest DVD, is a DVD that just plays the movie. You put it in, it slides into the machine, it starts up, and it just plays the movie. There's no menus. There's no initial screen with things you have to click on. It just goes straight to playing the movie. So that's the simplest kind of DVD you can create, and that's the kind I'm going to create here today. I can use DVDStyler to make much more complicated DVDs with menus and buttons and all that stuff if I want to. But I'm going to keep it simple. For this, I'm putting one movie on this. I'm just going to make it so when I slide that DVD in my player, it just plays. So there won't be any menus. So I can't use these first two choices. I can't use go to the last menu or go to the root menu because those don't exist. There will be no last menu. There will be no root menu. So the only thing left is to play next title, which will be, since there'll only be one movie on this DVD, there'll only be one title. So basically what it will do when it gets to the end of the movie is it'll start playing the movie over again from the beginning. It'll jump to the beginning of the movie. So that's the only choice I can make for this particular DVD that I'm building. If I was building a more complicated DVD, I'd have more choices. But for right now, just, for these simple DVDs, just pick play next title. So the last thing to do is to deal with these DVD format buttons down here. And the easiest way to remember that is you always want to pick the bottom row of buttons. So this one, the PAL versus NTSC, PAL is a DVD format that's used in Europe. So we never want to probably ever use PAL. We always want to choose NTSC when we're making a DVD for North America. The next one over here is the aspect ratio, the ratio of the width to the height of the picture. And if you remember the old style TVs that were almost square, they had a 4:3 aspect ratio. So if you were making a DVD out of something that was like an old TV show that had almost a square picture, you would leave it on this 4:3 ratio. But most of the movies we deal with today are in widescreen format. They're in this 16:9 aspect ratio. So we're going to switch this to this 16:9 aspect ratio. And finally, you've got two different formats you can use here for the audio. It really doesn't matter which one you pick, but AC3 is considered better than MP2. And so I always just leave this at AC3. But you could pick either one. It doesn't really matter. But the easiest way to remember this for me is just remember to make all these buttons, all these button choices, the bottom button. So that makes it easy to remember what to do on this screen. Give it a name, pick the size of the DVD, pick play next title, and put all the buttons on the bottom. That's what you need to do to get through this welcome screen. So you now say OK, and you're ready to, and it now understands what kind of DVD you want to make. Now it's assuming that you're going to want to create menus and make fancy buttons and everything else in the menus, and so it's asking you which template do you want to use to build your menus. And remember, I said for this DVD we're not going to make any menus. We're going to make this a really simple DVD. So we're going to say no template, thank you. We're going to click on this no template button. Okay, so now we've got a blank DVD screen here. This is actually, if you read this closely down here, says that the thing we're looking at right now is menu 1. We said no template, but it still thinks we need a menu. So I'm going to actually get rid of this menu. I'm going to delete it. I'm going to say get rid of that menu. So I right-clicked it, clicked my right mouse button, and I'm going to click delete, which was going to get rid of that menu. Because remember, I said I don't want any menus. And it says, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to delete menu 1? Yes, I do. So now menu 1 is gone, and my DVD now has nothing on it. If I zoom back out here, you can see I've got a blank preview screen over here where there's nothing, and I've got nothing in the timeline down here in the bottom where my files go. And it says, what it's saying here is, I need to drag some files from the file browser and drop them here to make my DVD. So if I go back up here and zoom out, I can see 3 tabs on the side here, and one of them that I'm on right now is for DVD backgrounds. Well, I'm not making any menus, so I don't need any backgrounds. All I need is that movie file that I downloaded, and I want to put that in here. So I'm going to go to the File Browser tab here, like it suggested. See, that says File Browser, and I'm going to click on that. And I see then the directory structure of all the stuff that's on my Macs. And the file I downloaded is in my Downloads basket, which is right here. I'm pointing at the Downloads folder. That's where my movie is. So I'm going to click on that, and then I can see my movie here. Oh, there's all the files that are in the Downloads folder, and this is the movie file that I can work with. So I'm going to zoom back out so we can see, and I'm going to grab that movie file, and I'm going to drag it down to the bottom here where it says, drag your video files from the file browser to here. I'm going to do exactly what it says. I've got my video file. I'm going to left click it and drag it down to the bottom and drop it right there. And now I've got a movie in there. Now I've got a video file in there it's going to be part of my DVD. So I'm done now. I've built the DVD. It's ready to go, pretty much. But there's just one thing I want to check before I start, and that's that it will play that video when I put the DVD in. So I'm going to come up here to the top where it says DVD options. Let me zoom in on this. This little icon here in the middle, in the icon bar, says DVD options, and I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to check this right here, this thing that says first play commands. This is the first thing the DVD is going to do. What's it going to do when I stick it in the machine? It's going to jump to Title 1, and that's exactly what I wanted it to do. Title 1 is that movie file I just drag and drop down there. It's going to jump in there. And I can see all the stuff I set from before is here. This is where all those things I set when I first set up this DVD are still here. They're all here. And so, when it's finished, it'll play the next title. This is a North American DVD, 16:9 aspect ratio, AC3 audio, all the buttons at the bottom. All that stuff is there from when I started. But I just came here briefly to check and make sure it says jump Title 1. Because I want that to be the first thing it does. I want it to jump to Title 1 and start playing it. And now, so I can click OK to close this window. Everything is good. And now I'm completely done. I'm ready to actually create this DVD image and burn it to disk. So the next thing to do is basically burn the DVD. I've got the movie in the right spot. I've got all the settings right. I'm going to click this red disk up here at the top, which is the burn button. And it's going to bring up a little menu that says, all right, which temporary directory do you want me to use? And you can basically leave that alone. You don't need to mess with that. Do you want to preview this in a video player before you start? Do you want to see the DVD before I burn it to disk? And I'm going to say no, I don't want to see it first. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn off the preview. And I'm just going to leave on the burn down here. I want it to burn. And I want it to, and I'm going to have to tell it, though, which DVD player to burn it to. And this is my DVD player. This Asus BW is my DVD player. The one that I'm using is a plug-in DVD player into my Mac. Yours will have a different name probably, but you'll have to figure out which DVD player you want to use and burn on. You'll have probably just 2 entries in here like I did, one called Dev DVD, and then when I dropped this down I had one other option, and that's probably going to be your DVD player. So you want to pick that. Once you've done that, it will remember it, and you won't have to do that again. But make sure that you always check when you come here that you've got the right DVD player picked. Otherwise you're going to get an error saying I couldn't burn this. It's going to go through the whole process of getting it ready, which takes quite a while. And when it gets to the point of actually burning it on disk, it's going to come back with an error message and say, whoops, couldn't do it. So you don't want that. So I picked the DVD player and I'm ready to go. I click start, and it will start getting the DVD stuff ready. This takes quite a while. This can take an hour maybe sometimes before it's done. You want to not do this in a time when you're going to want to use your Mac for other stuff for a while, because it's going to use a lot of the resources that are in your Mac, and it's going to tie up your DVD drive. So I'm going to click start and show you what happens. So we have a whole progress menu that starts here. There's a summary that tells you the big steps that it's doing, and then there's a log window, a details window down at the bottom that gives you all the detail information about what's going on during that step. So we're not going to be able to watch this whole thing because it's going to take quite a while. We will come in and come out as things go along, as it starts to generate the DVD. So what it's doing right now, it says transcode video 1 of 1. So I put one video in there. I put that Jimmy MP4 file in there. Well, that has to be converted into a different file format to be put onto DVD. So that's what it's doing right now, is it's taking that MP4 file and turning it into, transcoding it into an MPG file. So it's taking it from one format to another. And you can see the progress as it does that down here in the details bar. If you watch this time entry right here on this line, it tells you how far into the movie it's processed. 12 minutes, 13 minutes of the movie so far. So however long this movie is, this is a 90-minute movie. You can watch and see as it progresses toward that 90 minutes. So you can tell how far along it is on this step by watching that time counter right there. It'll process it faster than real time. It's doing it, if you look at the speed over here, it's doing it at 10 times normal speed. So it's doing it 10 times faster than it would if it was just playing the movie at normal speed. So this is 10x, if you will. 10.3x, but 10x. So I can watch this, and or I can go get a cup of coffee, whatever you like. So we're going to take a little break now in the video and come back again when the next part of this process starts. But keep in mind what I said, this overall process can take quite a while, as much as an hour sometimes, to actually get all the way through to where it has burned and checked your disk. So we'll watch that process as it goes along. We'll jump in and jump out. So I'll be back in a few minutes here. Bear with me. Okay, we're back now, and we just saw it finish up the transcoding step, and now it's started to generate the actual DVD files. So I don't have to do anything at this point, and I'm still completely hands-off. I'm just watching, but I wanted you to see the different stages it goes through as it builds your DVD and then burns it. So we're still burning the DVD. It's finished converting the video file from one format to another. Now it's breaking that video file up into smaller chunks called VOBs, and it's writing those VOBs into a file structure that will then be burnt onto the DVD. So again, you can kind of watch the little blue bar that's in the middle of the screen here. You can keep your eyes on this, and that'll give you some idea of the progress that we're making toward being finished. Of course, it's going to get about 2/3 of the way across here, and it's going to stop while we actually do the burning part, because it can't tell. The burning is done by an external program, and it can't tell what the progress is on that. But right now, it knows where it's at, and it can keep track of the progress. So you see these various steps here. Now it's creating the ISO image So what it's doing right now is it's taking the files that it built and it's putting them into a binary image of the DVD. So it's building an image of what the DVD will look like on your hard drive in your Mac. And when it gets done with this step, it will take that image of that DVD and it'll actually burn it on to the DVD. So this is the third step in the process, and the fourth step will be the actual burn. And then the fifth step will be to check the disk to make sure that what's on it is what we expected. There's a verification process at the end that verifies that the disk was written correctly. So right now we're in step 3 of 5. So we'll come back when we get to step 4, when it starts the burn. Okay, now it started the burning process. So it's actually now writing to the disk. So the disk in my DVD writer is spinning, and it's actually writing information onto the disk. As I said, this blue bar will stay frozen now until this burn finishes, and we're done. So don't expect to see the blue bar move anymore at this point, because it doesn't really know how far along, how much of the disk has been written. So it can't update you on that progress. But generally, this is very reliable. It will not fail unless there's something wrong with your DVD writer or DVD itself. So we will again take a break, and we'll come back when the verification step, the fifth and last step, starts. Okay, now I can see that it's finished the writing process. It's finished burning. If I look down here at the bottom of this little details window, I can see finished burning, and it's starting to verify the burn. So what it's doing now is it's reading the disk and comparing it to what the image that it created to make sure that they're the same, so that when the writing process was done, there were no mistakes. So that'll take a little while longer, and when that's finished, the disk will be ready and the process will be complete. So we will come back when that process finishes up. All right, you probably just heard the DVD player ejecting the disk. It's finished the verification process. Everything was good. It completed successfully. So that's it. We've now burned our DVD, and we're all done. So I can zoom back out again here, and I can close this window, and we're finished. So when I close DVDStyler, it's going to ask me whether or not I want to save the file that I created. So if I wanted to save, the DVD project that I used to create this disk, I could, and that would let me then come back and reopen this and make new copies of the DVD or something like that. So if you have a DVD that you want to make multiple copies of, maybe tomorrow or next week or next month, you might want to save this project. But when I'm just burning movies to disk, I generally don't save these projects. So I would say no, I don't want to save the changes. It also asked me a question when it did the transcoding. Remember I said at the very beginning of the burning process, it takes that MP4 file that is not in the right format for putting on a DVD, and it converts it into what's called the MPG format, which is the right format for writing to a DVD, and that takes a while. So it's offering to keep that around, keep that converted file around in case you want to come back and make more copies of this DVD. So again, if you wanted to come back and make more copies of the DVD, you might want to answer yes to this question, but I generally don't need to do this, so I generally will answer no to the question. I'll let it to, excuse me, I said that backwards. If you wanted to keep the file, you would say no. I generally don't want to keep the file, so I say yes, let it. Do I want to clear the cache? Yes, I do. So I will let it erase that cache and get rid of it. And so DVD downloader is closed. I still have the downloaded file in my, whoops, excuse me, wrong button. Push DVDStyler button again, so we're going to see DVDStyler open again. I still have the movie file in my downloads folder. So if I want to, if I'm done with this movie that I downloaded, I've got it on DVD now, I don't need the file anymore, I can drag and drop that to my trash to do the cleanup as well. So those are the cleanup steps. Do I want to save the project in case I'm going to burn more copies of the DVD? No. Do I want to clear the cache to get rid of the transcoded file? Yes. And then maybe I want to come down here and delete the movie file that I downloaded. So that's the whole process. That's the simplest process for putting a movie on a DVD. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and there may be more to come in the future. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.